Hi, I'm Jeanne Johnson. I'm the host of Ridgewood Talks. And guess what? Today, I am going to be speaking with Martha Fickinger from Ridgewood Living magazine. We're going to learn all about the magazine, and we're going to introduce you to Ignite Creator Studios right here in downtown Ridgewood. So stay tuned. Welcome to Ridgewood Talks. Through this podcast, we will be introducing you to some of the leaders and legends in our village. We'll keep you updated about fascinating local events. We'll dig into the town's hot topics and so much more. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeanne Johnson, the founder of Ridgewood Talks and Ridgewood Walks. The goal of these initiatives is to create a kinder, more connected, and more vibrant community. I'm thrilled to be hosting this podcast with my good friend and all-around wonderful guy, Jordan Kaufman. We look forward to meeting with you weekly and hearing your thoughts on who and what you'd like to learn about in our beautiful hometown. For now, be kind, do good, and enjoy this episode. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's Jeanne Johnson. I'm riding solo today. My co-partner Jordan is not with us, but I do have a really special guest with us today, and I have Martha Fickinger from Ridgewood Living magazine. Hey Martha, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun show. So for those of you who do not know Martha, she is a consummate volunteer here in Ridgewood. She has given her time, talent, and treasure to many, many organizations. I can think of one that really stands out, which is Social Service Association and College Club. But I know you're involved in a lot of other things too. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've lived here for 28 years, longer than anywhere else. And my husband actually grew up here. So I married a Ridgewood lifer who briefly went to Hoboken and came back. I'm the mom of two young adult men. I love everything about Ridgewood.
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, it's a great town, right? And you've given a lot to this town. Like I said, you're involved in a lot of charity organizations. You've raised a ton of money for the greater good for charities outside of Ridgewood. So, you are all over town. Everyone knows you. And if you don't, you should. So now you have taken on a new role as the director of sales for Ridgewood Living magazine. I want to learn a little bit more about the magazine. I know some people might have seen it. They might show up in their mailbox. How do people get this magazine?
People get the magazine based on residency in town. So our magazines are distributed exclusively to homeowners. You won't find them dropped off in a store. It is delivered by the mail carrier into your mailbox. And we focus primarily on single-family homes because we talk about a lot of the services that homeowners need. We do a whole lot in the home improvement area.
Right, and your advertisers sort of in that space too as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And so initially it was determined by an algorithm based on property value.
Mm-hmm.
And but now when someone reaches out to our publisher and says, for some reason I'm not receiving the magazine, it is, we'll add you to the circulation list. It is gifted to the residents on behalf of our sponsors.
Oh, that's so great.
You can't subscribe. You can't buy it on a newsstand. It's gifted to you by local businesses.
I think that's great. So there are quite a few advertisers in here. So tell us a little bit about that model, your advertising model, and how, if somebody wanted to be in the magazine, who would they contact? How do they go about that process? What is the pricing scale? Things like that.
Sure. Well, we grow content through sponsorship. So our model is when we launch a magazine, a little baby magazine in our format is 16 pages, and that'll include 8 pages of content,
right?
And 8 pages of sponsorship revenue to underwrite that content.
Perfect.
And we like to say we do print, digital, and social campaigns.
Oh, right. So
we
there's
offer
both.
A variety of
I didn't
products
realize that.
Yeah, to
That's
our
great.
sponsors. So, and we say you can do a campaign from anywhere in the range of 9-10 cents a home, and because it's basically the rates are based on circulation.
I gotcha. Okay, so tell me about your sponsored content.
So, well, we have different levels and opportunities of sponsored content, and then we also have crowdsourced and community content. So, our content coordinator, Catherine Schmidt, who loves all things Ridgewood, has been here for 40 plus years. You know, there's a format everywhere that we're known as the magazines with the family on the cover. So every month you will see a cover family, and then there's a feature story that tells that family's story inside. And then, you know, we have other regular features and departments. For example, what's going on with nonprofits, talk about what's going on with schools, sports, seniors, real estate. Everybody likes to talk about real estate.
That's a big one.
And then we have a variety of sponsorship opportunities where we have folks who are advertisers, and then we have folks who are advertisers, but they're also expert contributors. So they're creating educational content for us 4 times a year.
I like those. I think one of your creators for that content is a real estate agent, and her articles are so well researched, they're well written, and very informative. So and that's Megan Murphy.
Megan and well balanced and educational and not salesy.
Right, and it's not all about real estate too. She adds other things to it too. It's a great feature in the magazine. I really, really like it a lot. And so you said with Catherine, she is the content creator. Who's the publisher?
Nella Veldrin is the publisher, and Nella is she's a lifetime publisher. She came from the corporate publishing world, and 5 years ago, she connected with the folks from our parent company, Best Version Media, launched her first publication in Franklin Lakes, and then added on Ridgewood. And when I came to work for her 2.5 years ago, we were just in the process of launching in Glen Rock. So they all have unique content.
Because it's all specific to that community, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you won't find any syndicated or generic content in our publications. They are created for and by the residents of each town.
Right. Of this zip code of 07450. Exactly. So whatever is in this magazine is all about Ridgewood, which I think is really cool. The thing that I am very interested in is, why did Nella decide to put together this magazine? I mean, why was it relevant for her? I mean, what was the driving force for her to do that?
Well, several things. I think she's passionate about Bergen County. She's a lifetime area resident. The media landscape has changed dramatically over the past decade or so in this area. We used to have community newspapers, weekly newspapers, with you know, they were robust with community content. And you know, because you've been involved in philanthropy in town, that they had a social editor, and you could call her up, and they would come with a photographer, and they'd write a feature about you. And local content was actually, you know, generated by local publishers in newsprint. As a lot of us know, the Borg family that owned North Jersey Media for 3 generations sold to Gannett, which is USA Today. And frankly, they decimated the local weeklies.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And there's no more. There's minimal local content, but it's changed dramatically.
And they're hard to find. I can't find Ridgewood News anymore. I mean, I saw it the other day over at Parkwood Deli, which was kind of cool. I didn't even know that it was still in existence. And then I sent out a press release for something that I did. And believe it or not, they picked it up. I was really happy about that. But that's really why Ridgewood Talks started, too, is because there's really no place to get news about our community. So that's why we have this hyper-local podcast, because we want people to be informed about the leaders and the legends and the town's hot topics, right? So you're sort of following in that I don't know if you're following in that lead, but it's sort of the same idea. Ridgewood Living magazine is trying to inform as many residents about what's going on here as we are here at Ridgewood Talks. So I think we should think about doing a little partnership in some way, and, you know, maybe getting some of your featured people here on our podcast and do some interviews with them. How does that sound?
You think brilliantly.
I know I do.
Love that idea.
No, I think that would be a really good idea. So I think we'll have some conversations about that and see how it rolls. I'm very excited to, again, you know, get your content people in here behind the microphone, talk to them, and have them tell us a little bit why they're so interested in getting information out to the public. Again, I love that you do some features on, I don't know if it's features, but you add value for what's happening at the village. And we're going to be interviewing every month on Ridgewood Talks now. We're going to be interviewing the village manager or a representative from the village. Either it will be a department head, it will be maybe a village council member, and we're going to be talking about all things that are going on inside the village. And then we're also going to have a representative from the high school, from the district, from the superintendent. First of all, Mark Schwartz is going to come and speak with us later on. Watch this space. Lots of interesting things are going to be happening. Dr. Schwartz is coming in, and he will also send in representatives to talk about all the goings-on at Ridgewood Public Schools. So if there's something special happening at Willard School, for example, or Orchard, or maybe it's going to be at BF, wherever the school is, whatever is happening, you're going to have some information about that. And there are so many awards. Our sports teams are phenomenal. So we're going to talk to Keith Cook in the athletic department. So it's super exciting what we're going to be doing. And Jordan is going to be talking about all business stuff, and we're going to have some art content, and that's going to be Rosie McCooey is going to do a couple of interviews about the art scene here in Ridgewood, and we're going to have Jeanette Donnarumma talk some about the food scene in Ridgewood. So it's really, really cool. We have some really fun stuff coming up. And so you do too, because you were mentioning about Glen Rock opening up a new chapter, I guess, if that's what you call it, of the magazine. Tell us a little bit more about Glen Rock and the other areas where this magazine is, Best Version Media is pushing out these magazines.
Sure. Well, we have 1,400 of them across North America.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. The parent company started 17 years ago in the Midwest, and we now have publications everywhere from Vancouver to Miami.
Wow.
So really all across the continent. I believe we now have 47 in print in New Jersey, 10 of which are in Bergen, and we have a couple.
Does Nella have all of those? Is that
no? So they're all fall under independent publishers.
Gotcha.
So Nella publishes 3, and then there are other independent publishers in other locations.
And they use that same format.
Same format. Always look for that Best Version Media BVM logo on the front of the magazine, because that'll tell you it's one of ours. And they're the magazines that always have the family on the front cover.
Right. Yeah. And so are you looking at going to other communities like Hohokus or Saddle River or any of those things? Are you trying to open those up?
We are pre-launch in a publication for Hohokus and Waldwick.
Great. Oh, excellent.
And Allendale as well.
Perfect.
And the key is really in these communities is to finding the right publisher who's passionate about that community to get it started.
Right. And I think this has been a really big success here in Ridgewood. I think to be completely transparent, my husband and I were on the second cover of this magazine, and I think that was 2 years ago, right?
Closer to 4.
Was it really? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Time goes by so fast. I can't believe it. Wow. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's amazing. That went by so fast. And a lot of very interesting people have been on the cover of this magazine. I love the stories. It's so fun to learn about the people, learn about our neighbors here in this community. So I really want to say thanks so much for tell Nella, thank you for putting this magazine together. Tell Catherine, thank you for writing such fabulous stories, and thank you for going out there and pounding the pavement to get advertisers so we can get this content in our mailboxes every month. It's really incredible. Everybody, look for this magazine. Look for this magazine. All right, Martha, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, take care.